G'day ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Nick Wilde, your host. Welcome to Chasing Dreams. This is the new CCG podcast where I will be taking you through the incredible, inspiring and successful life stories of some of our past and present members of Christian College. Today I had the pleasure of interviewing one of my past teachers, Renee Garing, who is an AFLW superstar physical educations teacher and now is a future mother to a potential future AFL star. The podcast went really well and she gave me everything I needed and it was amazing, and I wanted to say just again thanks so much for helping me out with that. But you know what, enough said, let's just cut to it. Enjoy the podcast. Is Renee Garing. How you doing, Renee?
I'm doing very well, Nick. Excited to be here.
Fabulous. All right. So just first up, you were a very skilled netballer in your past years, and can you tell us what was the transition like from going from, I guess you'd say, the netball court to the football field?
Yeah, it was not an easy one, that's for sure. I played netball for it was 28 years of my life before I took up footy. So obviously when I was little, I started I think when I was at netter level as a junior. So not all those years playing, but look, you know, it was one that was challenging and lots of new skills to pick up. Football wasn't something that I'd done through school really. We had one day a year where we got to play as females, and loved that day every year. And I did Auskick with my little brother, one of the only girls in that program growing up as well, but just really tasters of the sport. So to pick it up and to take it on, there was certainly lots of learning along the way.
Yeah, well, since netball, have you evolved as like being someone who basically you could say being somebody who's just there to help, or to someone who is a true leader?
I think certainly, yeah, from my first year of footy to now, I've certainly grown a long way in my understanding of the game. I'm a PE teacher, so we try and have a general understanding of all sports and a capacity to teach them. But when it came to footy, understanding the game and the strategies behind it, and then really the underpinning skills was something that I had to develop myself before I felt like I could go and give feedback to other players. And I was really lucky to be in the leadership group in my first couple of years when we were in the VFLW, and then in the AFLW in the first few years as well. So I've been given those opportunities at the Cats to be able to do that, which has been great.
And I know that especially through some of your younger years down here at middle school, you struggled a lot with your body image, and guys making comments about certain things.
Yeah, no, I had some struggles, I think, like a lot of young people do, and I think that's part of the reason I want to be a teacher, is to be there for young people through the different challenges of adolescence, and there are many. Body image can be one of them, and certainly other people can have an impact on our body image and how we feel, our self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves. And yeah, particularly through the middle years, there was girls and boys in their attitudes, but girls have made comments around my body type as compared to other people. I've always been quite fit and muscular, and that's just naturally how I am. And then obviously playing a lot of sport contributes to that as well. But yeah, certain comments that certainly stuck with me that I had to develop strategies to work through is something that I'm encouraging, and you want to hear the positive messaging, and also try and avoid people saying things that can have a significant impact on other people's lives. I think once I got told like I'd never look nice in a dress by one of my peers, and I still remember that, and I use that talking to students now, is someone said that to me not thinking about the impact it could have.
Exactly.
I've now learnt and over the years learnt the self-talk to realise actually what's the truth and what matters and who I should be listening to, and the things that are important to me, to make sure that we are building our own self-esteem and positive body image. But yeah, lots of learning along the way, and certainly that's what I can hope that I'm doing now in the classroom.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, after Christian College, of course, you went away. You went up to America to do some schooling in uni and all that, and you went up there with a friend. And unfortunately, at that point in your life, near your early 20s, is when some of the other issues started coming up around your eating disorder. There was a lot of obsession as well during that. And I just want to hear what you were going through during those times and why you made some of those choices.
Yeah, eating disorders are really complex, and unfortunately, they're out there and quite common in both males and females, but particularly in young females. And that was something that I did experience in my early 20s. I've had a wonderful upbringing, and I don't think there's been life factors really that have influenced into me developing an eating disorder as such. I suppose that body image and concerns around wanting to appear a certain way, and then also to stay fit and healthy, and then the competitive element of that, certainly I think all draw into that. A lot of perfectionism traits fall into eating disorders as well. And so when I was overseas, I didn't have my normal routines of netball and training and even being home, having food cooked for me and those sorts of things. And I'd had a trip straight out of school where I put on a bit of weight for myself. That was because I was just enjoying being at summer camp in America and abundance of food, and I was pretty stationary in the roles. I was doing rock climbing and lifeguarding, standing still all day long, and the kids were running around flat stick and then provided with all this food, and I enjoyed the food but didn't get to do all the running around. So it was in my second trip a few years later that I think I had in my mind that I was going to stay fit and healthy, and that I was going to continue to run and eat well, because I didn't want to put myself in a position where I was feeling uncomfortable in my own body. And it did get to a point where I didn't have control over that, and there were behaviours that weren't healthy in weighing myself regularly, and then in monitoring how much I was eating, and then also the exercise and doing too much for what I was fueling my body for. And I know that, like, I know these things around the importance of fueling myself for sport and things like that, but I wasn't using that in a really positive way. And I don't think it was a choice. I lost control of that, and that's what, with mental illness, we don't choose to feel a certain way, or we don't choose to have these experiences, but it's an illness, and it takes over. And I was really lucky to have support once I got back to Australia to help myself get well again.
Well, and you would have, thinking about that, I mean, you continued to play sport during that time as well, and I'm guessing that would also have a massive impact on it. And I mean, there was those two team players that came up to you. Don't know if you remember, but what kind of impact did they have on you? What kind of set with you that maybe it's time to stop and refresh and then come back? That was a real turning point. So I was playing for Geelong Cougars at that point in time, and my captain and a couple of my teammates who were close to me came and said, you're not going to be able to keep playing unless you seek some help and we start to see some change. I was just going for runs before training or before games and not fueling myself enough, and I was becoming frail on the court really, and being able to get knocked around and wasn't able to play to my potential, because if we don't fuel ourselves, we can't. So that was a big thing. And then also when I went to see a doctor and a specialist in the end around the bone density, and also the impacts on future ability to have a kid and children, was another big driver for me. I've always wanted to have a family, and that really scared me as well. So both the ability to play sport and continue to play something that I loved, coming back, I could finally play netball again, and I wasn't doing it well because I wasn't eating enough and doing too much. And then also I could do long-term damage here and not be able to have kids potentially, or have other impacts on my body that I couldn't necessarily turn around if I continued that way. Yeah, and I mean,
after getting past all that and what a chance it was, a few years later, after coming back to Australia around 2016, you went to a sign-up for Geelong Cats to just you go on there, just have a bit of fun to see what you could do, and I just want to know what's your experience been like with the club over these last few years.
It's been amazing. As a young person, I always had the dream of playing a sport to the highest level, and I always thought that would be netball. And I got to a certain point with netball, and then that was where I got to, and it wasn't the highest level. And I came to terms with that, and wanted to just do the best that I could at other aspects of my life, my school, as a teacher, and be the best teacher I could be here at Christian College, and then play my netball, and I was doing some coaching. And then that trial day came along, and I put my hat in the ring just to go and check it out. I went for the Cats. I thought it was awesome. It was a bit of fitness testing, I thought, at Deakin, the trial day, and I was like, I like my fitness, so I'll go along and have a bit of a kick around and not thinking anything of it. But I was really lucky at that point to get signed for, not immediately. They created a squad for the VFLW because Geelong missed out on getting a team in the AFLW in those first couple of seasons, but we had a VFLW. So since that point, and then I was lucky to be one of the first named signed in that group from our VFLW into the AFLW before the draft, and it's been amazing. The Geelong Cats are an amazing footy club. People that are around them know the work they do in the community, know the work they can do on the footy field as well, and we were really thoughtfully brought into the club, accepted, included. The club's done a lot of work to try and make sure that we have a professional program, and from the VFLW, not just once we got to AFL, but we had a lot of the work done for the VFLW to make sure that we were doing all the right things, preparing and encouraging juniors within the region, and sourced a lot of our players in those initial couple of seasons from the Geelong region, because we've got a lot of talent here. So I've been privileged to be part of it so far, and certainly loved my time.
And I know that and just to end off on, I know you've been an inspiration to a lot of people. I know you've inspired me. When I first came to Christian College in Year 7, you've even inspired my younger brother who started last year. But the question is though, who has been an inspiration to you?
In life, I think one of my big inspirations is my mum in character and in who she is. My mum works here at Christian College, little family affair in the canteen, Heather Smith. Just a really selfless person, and the way that she serves other people in everything she does, and us as a family. My dad is great too, by the way, but mum is certainly someone that, if I can aspire to be more like her every day, then I'm heading in the right direction, and she lives out her faith in everything she does, and that's something as well that's a really important part of my life and who I am.
You've definitely inspired me today. And honestly, just thank you again for joining me today and being part of the first episode of Chasing Dreams. But you know what? Good luck with your new challenges ahead. Good luck with the maternity leave and the baby. Find something to watch. Binge something. Figure out something to do.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Chasing Dreams. Tune in next time to see what stories will inspire you. And of course, I'm your host Nick Wilde, and you keep chasing those dreams. I'll catch you later.